Gemara Brachos, Perek, Tfilas השחר, Daf Chavov Amud Aleph, and a little bit from Daf Chavov Amud Beis till the word Itmar in the Gemara, about 10-12 lines in Amud Beis. Zogt the Eilike Mishnah. The Mishnah is going to talk about the davening, Shachris, and the time of davening, and so on and so forth. Tfilas השחר, Shachris, the time of davening, Shachris, till when can you do it? Ad Chatzois, till midday. Rabbi Yehuda Ad Arba is till the 4th hour of the day. Now, how do you do the 4th hour of the day? So this, when it talks about the hours of the day, it's called Shois Zemaniyos, timely hours. You take the day from sunrise till sunset, and you figure out how many minutes are there, and you divide it by 12, so that's called timely hours. Like in the summer, the timely hours, Shois Manias can be like an hour and 15 minutes, and in the winter can be each hour of 45 minutes. So Rabbi Yehuda holds that you're allowed to daven till the 4th hour of the day. Tfilas Mincha, the Erev davening Mincha is till the evening. Rabbi Yehuda disagrees, Oimer, Ad Plaga Mincha, till a half of Mincha Ktane time, meaning Mincha Ktane time is 2.5 hours before nightfall. So you divide that 2.5 hours, so it's an hour and 50 minutes before nightfall. That's the time of Mincha. You can daven Mincha. And after that, Rabbi Yehuda holds that you can actually daven Ma'ariv. Tfilas Erev, the davening of the evening, Ein Lo Keva, it doesn't have a set time. You can daven the whole night, and the Gemara is going to discuss it a little bit more. V'shel Musafin, and the davening of Musaf, Kol Hayoim, the whole entire day. Now there is, it's in our Mishnah is in parentheses. There's opinion of the Rabbi Yehuda, but it's not really from the Mishnah. It's really from the Brisa. Rabbi Yehuda Oimer Ad Sheva Shois, you're allowed to daven until the 7th hour of the day. Now, so we see in the Gemara. The Gemara is going to discuss that we said that you can daven Shachris till Chatzois or till the 4th hour of the day. So the Gemara is going to ask a kasha. Frag deleke Gemara Ureminu. The word Ureminu brings a contradiction between two same sources. Ureminu, it says in the Brisa, mitzvah, the mitzvah of Shachris is to read it a little bit before sunrise. Why? Why do we read it in that time? In order to connect the bracha of Gal Yisrael to davening Shmoneh Esrei. So we see over here, v'nimtzo mispalel bayom, comes out that Shmoneh Esrei is davening while it's still day. So what do we see from here? That your davening time of Shachris is by Neitz Achamo, by sunrise, not till the 4th hour of the day, till Chatzos. And for the Elokei Gemara, Kitanyai, when did we learn this Brisa? That you only daven by Neitz Achamo, levo sikit, to people who do mitzvahs early and appropriately. So for them, they daven by Neitz Achamo. But for us, we can still daven till Chatzois, or the 4th hour of the day. How do we know that? The Amar Rabbi Yochanan says, "V'sikim are you going Ramoiso im Neitz Achamo?" V'sikim used to finish Krishma by Neitz a little bit before Neitz Achamo, and so we see from here. But our Mishnah talks about to everybody else. Frag the Elokei Gemara, v'kula al me'at Chatzois v'tu lo. Now the Gemara is asking a question from the other side. Everybody else can only daven until midday and not after. Ve'omar Rav Mori barei Ravuna barei Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Abba Omar Rabbi Yochanan. Rav Mori, the son of Ravuna, the son of Rabbi Yirmiyah, the son of Abba, in the name of Rabbi Yochanan says, if a guy made a mistake, v'lo yispalel arvis, and he forgot to daven Ma'ariv, so what does he do? Yispalel b'shachris time. When it comes to daven Shachris, he davens twice. Now, just to clarify, the first one, he davens the davening that he's obligated, which is Shachris, and then the makeup, he waits a little bit, and then he davens for Ma'ariv. Shachris, the same thing if you forgot to daven Shachris, mispalel b'mincha time, he davens mincha twice. So what do we see from here? That you're allowed to make up, you're allowed to daven after Chatzos. So why are you telling me you're not allowed to daven only till Chatzos? And for the Elokei Gemara, kula yoyim matzvah ozli. You're right, you're allowed to continue davening the whole time. But it is a big difference between davening before Chatzos and davening after Chatzos. At Chatzos ya'avela ischar tefilo bezmano. Till Chatzos, you get the Rebishter gives them reward for davening on time. After that, schar tefilo ya'avela. They give him reward for davening. Schar tefillah bizman lo yavel. They don't give him reward for davening on time. Now the Gemara talks about a question that the Yeshiva Bochim had. Ibay Elahu, the Yeshiva Bochim had a shayle. Tov lo yispal al mincha. If a guy made a mistake and he didn't have a mincha, because in the Braise before it only mentions forgetting to daven shachis, or if a guy forgot to daven ma'ariv, but it didn't mention about mincha. So ma'u sheyispal al shalar v'shtayim. Can he daven ma'ariv twice? Now, what's the question? Why can't you say that the same way you can make up for shachis and ma'ariv you can make up for mincha? So the Gemara explains. If you're going to tell me that we can learn from Rabbi Yochanan, Tov lo yispal al arvis mispal al shachir shtayim. The only reason that if you made a mistake by ma'ariv, you can make up by shachis. Yishon dechad yomo. It's one day. Ma'ariv is in the evening. Shachis is in the morning. It's one day. How do we know it's one day? Diksiv, like it says in the pasuk, Vayi erev vayi boiker yoim echad. It was a evening and it was morning, and that makes it a whole day. So ma'ariv you can make up by shachis because it's a continuation. Shachis you can make up a mincha because it's a one continuation. Avalocha, or over here, when a guy made a mistake and he didn't daven mincha, you should say tefillah b'mokem korbani. Tefillah, the reason that for davening is instead of korbanos, and therefore v'kiven dover yoimoi botel korbanos. Since the day passed, you forgot to daven mincha. Now you wanted to daven make up in the next ma'ariv from the next day. You cannot do it. Just like a korban, you cannot bring on the next day. Or maybe you can say differently. Given that Sloi Sarachmi, because of davening is asking mercy from Hashem, asking for what they need, so therefore, Koleimas the boy, Matzli v'ozli. Anytime he wants, he can daven and continue going. What's the difference when? So, and for the Eleke Gemara, Toshma, Kaminir, the Omar Avuna Bar Yudo, Omar Abitzchok, Omar Rabbi Yochanan, Tov v'lo yispal al mincha. If a guy made a mistake and he didn't daven mincha, yispal al arvi shtayim. He can daven ma'ariv twice. Ve'ein bo zeh mishum da'avar yoyim abotel karbonim. Rabbi Yochanan finishes his sentence that it's not considered since the day passed, the korban passed, because davening also as in at the concept of davening and asking the Rebbe for what you need, you can always make up for it. I just want to clarify that you can only make up by the next davening. But if already two davenings pass, for example, if he forgot to daven ma'ariv, and he remind himself by the time of davening mincha, that's already you cannot make up anymore. Frek the Eileke Gemara. The Gemara is going to ask a kasha on Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan says you can make up. So the Gemara is going to ask a kasha on Rabbi Yochanan. The Gemara is using the word meisivei. Meisivei comes a kasha on a moire on a lower source from a Braise or a Mishnah, which is a higher source. So always going to be the word meisivei, and the translation is going to be the Yeshivalite ask a kasha. It says in a pasuk in Koyeles, me'uros lo yuchol litkoin. Something that was a mistake, you cannot be fixed. V'chesoron, something that was missing, lo yuchol leimonos cannot be recounted. Now, what are we learning from this pasuk here? So we're learning me'uros lo yuchol litkoin. From this pasuk, we're learning zeh as referring to shebitel kriyas shma shel arvis, a guy who did not do krishma in the evening, or v'kriyas shma shel shachis, or the krishma in the morning, or itfilo shel arvis, or itfilo shel shachis, or he didn't daven ma'ariv, or he didn't daven shachis. You cannot fix it anymore. V'chisoron lo yuchol leimonos. And what are we learning from this pasuk? It's referring to zeh shenimlu chaver lo d'ar mitzvah. In a case when people got together to do a mitzvah, like to collect money for tzedakah or something like this, ve'hu lo nimlo imayim, and he refused to be counted for that. So since you refused, you cannot, and it was done, it can never be fixed again. So what do we see from here? The davening tefillah of ma'ariv or shachis, if you miss the time, you cannot make it up. So why are we telling me Rabbi Yochanan says you could? And for the Elke Gemara, Omar Rabbi Yitzchok, Omar Rabbi Yochanan, Ocho b'may askinon. Here in the Braise, what are we talking about? Whenever we have the words Ocho b'may askinon, meaning that we're going to make the Braise to a specific case. It's not a general case. Meaning, usually, if you made a mistake and you didn't daven, you could make it up. What is the Braise talking about? Shebitel b'mezid. He did not daven on purpose. When you don't daven on purpose, you cannot make it up. And the Gemara brings a proof to it. Omar Ravashi, Daikonami, we can see it clearly from the words of the Braise. The Ktani, like it says in the words of the Braise, Bitel. Bitel means it's referring to somebody who's not doing it on purpose. Veloy Ktani to, it doesn't say to, the word to, meaning it was a mistake. And the Gemara concludes with the word Shema Mino. Obviously, that's the clear that the Braise talks about B'mezid. We're going to learn another piece. Now we're turning the page. Tono Rabbanon, we learn a Braise. Tov lo yispalel mincha b'erev Shabbos. If a guy didn't daven, he made a mistake and he didn't daven mincha erev Shabbos. Yispalel b'leil Shabbos 2. He davens Friday night 2 davenings. Which ones? So the first one is for Ma'ariv and one for the makeup of mincha. Second halacha. Tov lo yispalel mincha b'Shabbos. If a guy made a mistake and didn't daven mincha on Shabbos, so what does he do on Motzei Shabbos? Yispalel b'Motzei Shabbos 2 shel choil. He davens Motzei Shabbos 2 davenings of the weekday. You don't make up from Shabbos, you davens weekday. Now, in the Ma'ariv of Motzei Shabbos, we say Ata Choin Antonu. So does it say twice? Does it say once? Which one does it say? So the Braise says, Mavdil Barishona. He says Ata Choin Antonu in the first one Esrei, Veinu Mavdil Ban Shniya. And he doesn't say Ata Choin Antonu the second one. Because the first davening is for the Ma'ariv, the second one is for the makeup. So by the makeup for Mincha, you don't have to say Ata Choin Antonu. Now what about V'im Ivdil B'Shniya? If he said Ata Choin Antonu in the second Shmon Esrei, V'lo Ivdil Barishona, and he did not say Ata Choin Antonu in the first Shmon Esrei, Shniya also loy. So the second one is considered for the Ma'ariv, because he did it the right way. Arishona, the first Shmon Esrei, that he didn't do Ata Choin Antonu, loy also, it's not counted. Therefore, he has to daven again. A third time, one for the mincha. Can we learn from here? Do we say the kaven lo avdil bekamai? So since he didn't say Ata Choin Antonu in the first Shmon Esrei, keman de lo yitzali dami. It's considered as if he didn't daven. So that means that the fact that he didn't say Ata Choin Antonu makes it like as if he didn't daven. It's a very important part of the davening. And we make him go back and davening. We ask him a contradiction from a Braise. If a guy forgot and he didn't mention Mashiv Ruach Moirid HaGeshem by davening, B'tchias HaMesim in the second bracha, or a guy, if a guy made a mistake and he didn't say V'sein Talamotor, he didn't ask for rain by saying V'sein Talamotor in the bracha of Baruch Aleinu, he has to daven again Shmon Esrei. Now, what about Avdolah b'Choin Nadas? You forgot to say Ata Choin Antonu in the bracha of Choin Nadas. Ein machzirim oisa. We don't make him go back. Why? Because he can say later on Avdolah on a cup later on when he comes home. So we see from this Braise that Ata Choin Antonu is not important for the daven. It doesn't prove anything. So therefore, it's a kasha. Why do we make him in the Braise before? We make him daven a third time. So the Gemara concludes, kasha, it's a good kasha. That means we remaining with a question and we don't have an answer to that. And thank you so much for listening. A beautiful shiur will continue later.